we almost there yet? I'm so hungry.
Not quite, Tom. We have about another hour of driving before we reach Grandma's house. I know you are very hungry, so how about some apple slices?
What about the cornbread, Mom? Can I have one piece? They look so good.
Not yet, dear. Don't you want to wait until you get to Grandma's house and share the cornbread with everyone? Remember, Thanksgiving is a holiday to celebrate with family.
Okay, Mom. I suppose I can wait until we get there. Do you want to share some of these apple slices with me?
Not now. You can have them all.
I just cannot wait to eat Aunt Grace's yams, Grandma Patty's mashed potatoes, Uncle Joe's steaks, Uncle Tom's turkey, and Aunt Sue's pumpkin pie.
Stop it, Sonny. I am getting hungry now, too.
How far are the two from Grandma's house?
What is Tom so eager to eat?
Mom, why do we always eat these types of foods on Thanksgiving? What is so special about these dishes?
Actually, the food is not the focus of Thanksgiving. We eat these dishes because they are traditional Thanksgiving dishes. However, the main focus of this holiday is to praise and give thanks to God for all His blessings. And what better way to celebrate God's blessings than to gather with our family, the biggest blessing of all?
I learned in history class that Thanksgiving does not happen on a specific date like Christmas does every December 25th. Instead, Thanksgiving is always celebrated on the fourth Thursday of November each year.
Yeah, you are right. Do you remember the Pilgrims or the Native Americans?
Yes, I remember learning about Squanto, the Native American who taught the Pilgrims how to grow corn when they first came to America. He was a big help to the Pilgrims, and without him, they might not have survived.
Correct. And to show their appreciation, the Pilgrims hosted a feast and invited the Native Americans to eat with them. This is probably another reason why our family comes together for Thanksgiving.
Why is Thanksgiving celebrated? How did the Native Americans help the Pilgrims?
Mom, are we almost there yet? I'm so hungry.
Not quite, Tom. We have about another hour of driving before we reach Grandma's house. I know you are very hungry, so how about some apple slices?
What about the cornbread, Mom? Can I have one piece? They look so good.
Not yet, dear. Don't you want to wait until you get to Grandma's house and share the cornbread with everyone? Remember, Thanksgiving is a holiday to celebrate with family.
Okay, Mom. I suppose I can wait until we get there. Do you want to share some of these apple slices with me?
Not now. You can have them all.
I just cannot wait to eat Aunt Grace's yams, Grandma Patty's mashed potatoes, Uncle Joe's steaks, Uncle Tom's turkey, and Aunt Sue's pumpkin pie.
Stop it, Sonny. I am getting hungry now, too.
How far are the two from Grandma's house?
What is Tom so eager to eat?
Mom, why do we always eat these types of foods on Thanksgiving? What is so special about these dishes?
Actually, the food is not the focus of Thanksgiving. We eat these dishes because they are traditional Thanksgiving dishes. However, the main focus of this holiday is to praise and give thanks to God for all His blessings. And what better way to celebrate God's blessings than to gather with our family, the biggest blessing of all?
I learned in history class that Thanksgiving does not happen on a specific date like Christmas does every December 25th. Instead, Thanksgiving is always celebrated on the fourth Thursday of November each year.
Yeah, you are right. Do you remember the Pilgrims or the Native Americans?
Yes, I remember learning about Squanto, the Native American who taught the Pilgrims how to grow corn when they first came to America. He was a big help to the Pilgrims, and without him, they might not have survived.
Correct. And to show their appreciation, the Pilgrims hosted a feast and invited the Native Americans to eat with them. This is probably another reason why our family comes together for Thanksgiving.
Why is Thanksgiving celebrated? How did the Native Americans help the Pilgrims? When is Thanksgiving celebrated?
You are right, Mom. Families also come together to appreciate one another. Does that mean that Dad will make it to Grandma's house in time for Thanksgiving dinner then?
Of course he will. Dad shortened his business trip by a few days so that he could make it to Grandma's house for Thanksgiving. So you see how important Thanksgiving is? I called Uncle Joe before we left home to ask him to pick up Dad from the airport. He might even be at Grandma's house already, waiting for us to get there.
Great. I really wish we were already at Grandma's house. I cannot wait to see Dad.
Yeah, and then we can all eat together. What a great Thanksgiving.
Why did Tom's dad shorten his business trip? Who will pick Tom's dad from the airport? Who is Tom excitedly looking forward to meet?
Right. So, shall we discuss what we have to do for this project then?
Yes. It says we have to investigate some aspect of the university facilities.
Yeah, we have to design a questionnaire, write an essay, and do a presentation.
Is it an essay? I thought it was a report.
Let me check. Yes, you're right, Paul, it's a report. But I wonder how long does it have to be?
The report has to be between 1,000 and 1,500 words. So, have you got any ideas about what we can investigate?
I was wondering about investigating transport. We could look at whether people think the bus service is regular enough, and we could also look at car parking facilities.
We could look at the cycling facilities too. There's never enough space for all the bikes in the bike sheds. I'm sure the university could afford to build more, what with all the fees we pay.
So, how should we go about the investigation then?
Well, we could make some questionnaires. I can ask the people who travel on buses, and you can ask cyclists and car drivers. Does that sound okay?
Sure. We should get some quantitative data too. You could count how many people get on and off the buses at different times, and I can count how many bikes there are in the bike sheds.
And we should take some photos while we're doing the questionnaires. They'll be useful for the presentation.
It sounds good.
What are the two friends discussing about? How long does the report have to be? What can be inferred about cycling at the university? Who will Kitty ask questions to? How would photographs be helpful in the project?
Good morning, Brian. My name is Sarah Green.
Welcome to our program, Sarah. What's your query today?
Well, I've always admired your program because it allows ordinary citizens to air their views and share them.
Thank you. So what would you like to comment on?
I'm speaking on behalf of a group of neighbors living in a tower block in the East End of Manchester, between two busy street markets. Naturally, we suffer from traffic, noise, dirt, and petrol fumes.
Is that all, Sarah?
No, Brian, not yet. I need to add that we have an open green space with shady trees behind us, and these trees provide us with a quiet, pleasant place where we enjoy our leisure hours. We are mostly pensioners, and there are very few children on the estate.
So what's wrong with that, Sarah?
Well, our local council recently proposed to make use of this site as a temporary play center for about 100 children.
Have you done anything about it?
Yes, we have protested against this plan in different ways. We have sent emails, letters, even spoken on the phone, but the council has never paid attention to us. What's worse, they have already started uprooting trees and grass.
Would you say there's some kind of alternative solution to this problem?
There's a disused school and playground within 300 meters. It could serve their purpose just as well.
I'd advise you to try and make a personal appointment with a member of the local council. That would give you the chance to be heard face to face. Why don't you contact Councillor John Edwards? I believe he's the right person to talk to. You can book an appointment at the council office. He's used to considering everyday problems and usually comes up with practical solutions.
I'll do that, Brian. Thank you very much for your advice.
Why is Sarah appreciative of Brian's program? What is a problem commonly faced by the residents of East End of Manchester? What is the proposal made by local councillor? How did the residents protest against the council? What was the response of the local council towards residents' complaint? What advice did Brian give to Sarah?
A paddleboarder earned the Maui Police Department's highest civilian honor, the Medal of Valor, for fighting off an attack by a tiger shark to protect members of a tour group he was leading. The 20-year-old employee of the Andaz Beach Crew at Wailea Resort was leading 5 stand-up paddleboarders about a quarter mile, (0.4 kilometers) offshore around 9:30 a.m. The group was watching whales and following fish and a manta ray when a 10-foot-long tiger shark appeared and launched an attack at a Washington man in the group, violently thrashing his board. Kahukale Santos used the blade of his paddle to strike the shark, which let go of the board and turned on him. The others paddled safely to shore as he fought off the shark with the paddle while it circled him 3 times. No injuries were reported as a result of the attack. While Kahukale Santos focused on the shark, he told the others to paddle in slowly and tried to keep splashing to a minimum. Talking about his own self, he said that on the inside it was like a little worrisome, but on the outside I had to stay calm for everyone. It came to try to bite my board. I'd hit it off. It would come again, he said. Then it finally disengaged. His mother, police officer Marjorie Kahukalepea, said she was proud of his actions because he followed protocol and did exactly what he was supposed to do. Kahukale Santos thanked his marine instructors who taught him about the ocean because without them, he wouldn't be able to stay calm out there. They taught me to be prepared for the worst-case scenario.
right, well, to another caffeinated beverage now. A new health review finds 400 milligrams of caffeine a day isn't going to hurt you. So here's the math. That is 2 medium coffees, 8 cans of Coke, 40 cups of hot chocolate, which if you're doing that, we're going to have a larger conversation.
Correct, yes.
The average person takes in less than 300 milligrams, but probably doesn't know exactly how much you're taking in. So we want to figure out, Heather, just how much caffeine is in our drinks.
So, I mean, I should ask you guys. You guys are up at these crazy, ridiculous hours
We are
in the middle of the
caffeinated.
night.
We are.
I mean,
it's a
coffee
privilege, Heather. It's a
is-
privilege. I don't need caffeine. I'm just naturally high on the thrill of providing stories to you people every day.
I need caffeine.
You do,
I
yeah.
do. So when I started doing morning TV, I used to make cappuccinos at home, very fancy. But I found out that
You weren't getting
I
your
was
hit. You weren't
frothing
getting your
milk
hits.
at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
But I found out that drip coffee actually has more caffeine than espresso drinks.
Right.
That surprised me.
We also found out that even though Jason doesn't need caffeine, he probably hits his upper limit each
Yeah.
More
day.
coffee than I do.
I drink a fair amount. I like the taste of coffee, and I've gone as an experiment without coffee for a couple of weeks to see if there's any effect, and nothing.
Yeah.
But you like it, the ritual.
I like
the
it.
flavor.
I like the routine, yes.
So what kind of surprised me in this one is what we did was we went to Hamlin and we had the students at Hamlin put in order the list. So we had energy drinks, we had sodas, we had teas, we had coffees,
So it's
and
very
they put it
clever,
in
very
order, and nobody got it right. And I didn't expect anybody to get it right.
So the thing with the most caffeine is
Of our selection of 9 drinks,
Yeah.
it was a 5-hour energy.
5-hour
Okay.
energy
But
has
was-
about how many milligrams?
200 milligrams. So
Okay.
2
Half
5-hour
of your
energies
daily
a day.
allowance,
Right.
okay.
But what was interesting to me is just a 12-ounce coffee that we had gotten from Starbucks, just the regular dark roast of that day,
Yeah.
was almost the same amount of caffeine as that 5-hour energy.
It's about 180 or something?
Right. And that 12-ounce, that's the small.
Right, exactly.
At Starbucks.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, coffee varies. It's hard to just say, like,
Absolutely.
coffee has X.
Yes.
Like, it
Right.
varies from bean
It
to
sure
bean,
does.
from roast to roast.
And I didn't know this, but light roast has more caffeine than dark roast.
Right, because I think people think, oh, if this
Right.
tastes more bitter, there's going to be more caffeine,
Right.
more punch.
Rough rule, about 100 milligrams for 8 ounces.
About, yes.
It's up and
yes.
down, but
So but what's important to
So
know
2
is
mugs.
Yeah. So what's important is it's going to be more than tea. It's going to be more than
Yeah.
soda.
that surprised a lot of
Right.
people, I think, that the coffee was, because people think of, oh, I need this jolt of Mountain Dew.
Right.
Yeah,
and Mountain
right.
Dew,
There's
I
sugar
thought
in
Mountain,
that too,
right.
right?
I thought Mountain Dew, and the sugar does make a difference. I thought
Interesting,
Mountain Dew
yeah.
was going to be a lot more. If Mountain Dew was the most of the sodas that we had, but
But it still was
wasn't
only-
It wasn't. It was 45 milligrams for just a
For a
can.
12-ounce can.
Right.
But if you're drinking Dew, you're doing a 20, or you're doing like the big gulp,
Yeah.
Right.
like 64,
Yeah.
going to Holiday, getting that thing.
That's not a thing.
That's the only way you can do the Dew.
Right.
What about black tea? I think
So
people
black-
drink
you're
that
right.
like with lemon. It's soothing. It's
It
relaxing.
sure is, and I drink tons of black tea all
Yeah.
the time, and that was some of those black teas are almost as much as 1 can of Red Bull.
Yeah,
Interesting.
So
So
don't
go-
do it before bed.
Don't go to the green tea.
Go to
that,
green
that
tea.
has some, but not as much.
Bottom line is 400, you're okay, so don't worry about it.
Don't test it.
Everybody's
though.
fine.
Don't test it. I don't know what happens.
I'm gonna
Matt
test
could
it.
maybe
Despite the negative consequences that high-conflict divorces have on the lives of the children involved, they rate the quality of their own lives as fairly positive. That is the result of a study by Amsterdam University. Children suffer considerably from daily confrontations resulting from a divorce, such as changing homes, dealing with different sets of rules, and not always having their own belongings at hand. Almost 50% of the children participating in the study displayed an increased risk of post-traumatic stress complaints related to the divorce. Despite the divorce, children can still build a world in which they can be themselves, exercise control over what happens to them, and be proud of what they have achieved. That is encouraging, and it seems important for parents, teachers, and professionals to encourage this group of children to develop in the areas that they are good at, says Katrin Finkenauer, currently professor of youth studies at Amsterdam University. But it is also important for parents and teachers to pay attention to the concerns children have about the destructive communication between their parents. This communication can cause stress for the children, according to Finkenauer. Study shows that children primarily talk about their concerns regarding the divorce with their mother, 60%, or their best friend, 61%. They are slightly less likely to share their concerns with their father, 40%. One remarkable finding was the role played by educators. Around 40% of the children had shared their concerns with a teacher. Another researcher, Dr. Inga van der Walk, notes that commuting distance between parents of more than 50 minutes is not beneficial in terms of joint and equal parenting after the divorce. Mostly, it does not have a positive influence on the children involved. A larger distance is generally associated with less contact and a decreased chance of paying alimony. Forgiveness is very important in order to break up in a respectful way, advocates Katrin Finkenauer. Besides that, social networks play a role as well. One good predicting factor for the chances of success in a relationship is the degree in which both parents' social networks become interconnected. She further adds, if people from the network, such as grandparents, are supportive and don't speak about the ex-partner in a negative way, that plays an important role in the harmony.